So congratulations, guys, on your success as property deal sources.
Thank you very much.
So you guys are now making how much a month?
So about over 5k. So in the last 3 months,
20k altogether.
about 20k.
So serious money that you're making now.
Yeah.
Are you doing property full time now?
Yeah, full time, financially free.
For me, I'm not quite full time because I'm doing my teacher training, but I've got about 2 weeks.
2 weeks and then you're
I'm
finished.
gonna do full time, yeah.
Yeah, well that's incredible. So property, would you say property's completely changed your life?
100%.
Definitely.
Like,
yeah.
I can't go back to anything else. Like, I make 3k a week now. No other job is giving me that, so.
Okay, because you're doing a deal every week.
Every single week, yeah.
So talk to me about how you got into property and how this all kind of started.
So for me, I started looking at different videos on property and that crypto crash course. That was in November. Then I signed up for the DFE and the deal selling masterclass.
Yeah.
And I started that in February. So the first event of the year, and it was an amazing event. It changed my whole perspective on just value, how you can charge up to 2 to 5k per deal. So that completely changed my life. And then that's when I met him. That's when we,
Yeah, so end of February, must have called me. He was like, yo, come to Samuel Leeds crash course. I was like, who's Samuel Leeds? Like, so I started Googling everything on YouTube, watching your videos, went to the crash course. Then he said, I'm going back to school, but learn as much as you can. In April, the half term, let's do property. I was like, okay, fine. March, I watched everything from deal selling, packaging, the whole stuff, and the videos used to send me from your course.
Yeah.
And April, when was it?
April the 25th, that's when we made our first deal.
Yeah, so he came down for 2 weeks and we said, let's set a challenge for ourselves. If we don't become financially free in April, then property doesn't work.
Wow.
Give us
Stakes are high.
Yeah, so from February to about April, I was just getting our compliance, everything ready, building a brand for our properties.
Yeah.
Making sure that investor has something to look at.
And your partners as well are also on the business, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So your partner works full time on the business.
Yeah, I work full time.
Yeah, and you've kind of like really dominated the space. How old are you guys?
I'm 26.
Yeah, just turned 27.
27. All right, cool. So tell me about your first deal, and how did you find the deal? How did you find the investor? How much did you charge? We want to know everything.
So before we actually found our first deal, we
tried to buy £1 million house with no cash.
Okay.
Because I know no money down. We said, you know what, maybe we could do it. So we learned so much. Secure loan arrangements, bridging finance, like all this stuff you didn't tell us to do. You know?
And we were just trying to sell a deal that wasn't as a great deal. So we're just we're learning through our mistakes. But after that, we learned so much. And
so that's when we decided, you know what, let's just do what Samuel Leeds has told us. We'll stop doing whatever we think. Let's just find a deal, package a deal, find an investor.
Yeah.
So we went on like 20 viewings that week.
We went on over 20 viewings. Yeah.
20 viewings.
Whereabouts were you going on these viewings?
So they were in Birmingham.
The patch was Birmingham, so we're looking for service accommodation deals.
So you can get apartments, things that you can rent out on short stay lets.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, good. So 20 viewings, and what was were you getting a lot of rejection?
It was all rejection.
All rejection, that too. That because we were just we're not pre-qualifying before.
Yeah.
Because now we call up, hi, can I come for a viewing? But it will be a company like just saying, okay, any questions? Don't worry, we can discuss in the viewing. But is there something you're open to?
Yeah.
So now before we go, we're not wasting our time at every viewing.
Sure.
So we're pre-qualifying now. So yeah.
Yeah.
So but before we would just go into any viewings just to making sure we just had that appointment with the estate agent, and we did learn a lot of skills in terms of like what works in what locations and what postcode works, especially in the Birmingham area as it was our patch.
Yeah, and I think as well at the program that you were at in February, that was where there was a couple of blind teenagers.
Exactly.
Right. What happened?
So they actually sold the deal for £3,000 on the. That's when my mindset just was open in terms of like this is actually possible.
And it made the newspapers and everything. I don't know if you knew that, but they found a deal, found an investor. I did help them with it. Put an email out. The phone went off the hook. You know, you were there.
That was a great program. It completely just changed the way I think about in terms of value, that because we was always taught, growing up, you work for money, like, but I didn't know that, once you provide value, a good deal is between someone who's willing to sell and someone who's willing to buy, and we are basically the middleman and connecting the two together, and we getting paid for that value, not for the time necessarily.
How much on average are you getting per finder's fee?
3K is the minimum we charge.
Yeah.
And you do one a week?
About one a week now, but took us a while to get here, but now we've got the processes in terms of like when an investor is interested, we have a processes from them sending an NDA for us providing a spreadsheet of the numbers and the property proposal, so we do package it well.
How do you know that you're going to be able to sell it? Like, are you not worried that your investor list is going to just dry up and you're going to have no one to sell to?
Nah, we get investors, like, I come to lots of networking events, like your events, PIN, even Facebook, WhatsApp groups, so there's always investors everywhere. So
and what we found, like, the more we connecting with people, the more events we're going to, we're building relationships, because no one will buy, that's one thing you taught us on the program, no one is going to buy if they need to know, like, and trust you.
Yeah.
So if an investor doesn't doesn't have that trust with you, they're not really gonna invest in you. That's why it's important to build relationships, especially going to networking events. And we found most of our investors are on WhatsApp.
How does an investor buy a deal then? Let's say you find a really good deal and you know me from a program and we're on the same WhatsApp group together.
Yeah.
How do you actually sell the deal?
Okay.
So before so what we do first, we have a team. So we build a team in terms of in terms of packaging it, in terms of property proposal, where it's got the pictures of the property, where it's close to exactly.
So you're gonna do all your due diligence. You're gonna package it up, get a little pack ready.
Yeah.
But let's say I'll message you and I'm like, hey, I'm up for this deal. I'm interested.
Yeah.
How do you actually take an interested investor to someone that's actually paid you?
Okay, so first of all, we ask for your email, so you can send an NDA. Once you send the NDA, we'll give you a phone call, like, hi, I'm gonna send you a proposal, and tell us.
What do you mean? What's an NDA?
NDA is a non-disclosure agreement.
Okay, so they can't then steal the deal?
No.
Yeah.
What happens if they just ignore it? What happens if they sign it and then they cut you out?
So there's two ways. So first of all, when we work with estate agents, we're very close with them, so they'll tell us anyway, like, hi, this guy's coming behind your back.
That's true.
And it's a confidential agreement that it does protect you.
So legally they're not even allowed to do that. You can sue them, you can take them to court.
Exactly.
And we don't proceed with any investor that don't sign an NDA. We've had a lot of people try to say, let me just get the address of the property, let me go have a look. And they say, no, if you don't sign the NDA, you're not going to see any more details about the property.
So you send them the NDA, they sign it.
Yeah.
Once they've signed it, you then send them the full information pack.
Yeah.
What happens if people just say, let me think about it, give me a few days, and then just wasting time, and then the deal then goes to somebody else?
There's always objections.
There's always objections, yeah.
Always objections.
So after 24 hours, we do call you back. Hi, what did you like about the property? What did you not like about the property?
After you sent the NDA, you mean?
Now, after the proposal.
Yes.
And the spreadsheets. Like, what did you like? Did you like the numbers? What did you like? They say, oh no, I'm not sure. I'm like, it is quite time sensitive. If you don't want it, someone else will take it. And there've been times when they've gone, let me think about it, then they call us back, it's gone.
Yeah.
Like, we did tell you it's going to go. So now they work quickly.
So that way we're training our investors to know that once we advertise a deal, it's going, because once we have done our due diligence, we know it's a good deal. And once we've advertised it, and some people go, 3 days later, I'm interested now, it's gone already. So,
yeah. And those people will be the people that will quickly buy next time.
Next time as well.
Because they'll be like, oh man, I can't miss out like I did last time, bang.
Exactly.
You're sort of showing them there's a limited supply, but there is a lot of demand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The skill of selling is one of the most important, especially in deal sourcing. It's selling through asking questions. Instead of saying, just if an investor says an objection, you say, that's fine, I want to think about, okay, that's fine. You're asking questions to probe and see really what's the objection.
So between you as a company then, because you're doing this 50-50, right?
Yes.
You're doing on average at least one deal a week, and you're charging $3,000. So that's $3,000. So that's like £1,500 each. What are your expenses? What are the running costs of the business?
So they're not much really. It's petrol.
I mean, we pay her for the spreadsheets and the emails as well.
Your partner.
Yeah.
So you pay your girlfriend.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool, good, nice. And is she doing this full time with you?
Yeah, full time.
That's so good.
We pay it together, really.
Yeah. So she because she prepares the package in terms of the proposal.
And you need someone
spreadsheets.
smart
You do.
on your team that's dealing with all the admin while you can then focus on actually running the business.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Because there's that saying, what's that saying? If you want to go fast, you go by yourself. If you want to go further, you go as a team.
Yeah.
And I find that it really is it really is real, especially in deal sourcing.
Yeah. So what are the other expenses? Do you have, apart from your girlfriend?
Petrol.
Petrol.
For the viewings, yeah.
Training?
Training.
Yeah,
the most
true.
important.
Because you spent, I mean, just on the deal selling masterclass, you spent £2,000.
£2,000.
But then again, you make that back on your first deal.
Exactly, you make that back and more on the first day, because the first day was 3,000, so
Yeah.
that was paid off.
And that's tax deductible, so all your costs,
exactly
when you're paying your partner,
Yeah.
your training, your petrol, you're claiming that all back,
Invoices.
and you're only paying tax on your profit, right?
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what would you say you've learned about business, rather not just about property, but about running it? Because deal sourcing is a business.
Yeah.
So what have been some of the core lessons that you've learned about actually running the business?
It's actually one of the key lessons in terms of managing a team. So because we have a team that so we might have someone's right at the viewing right now, who's meeting an investor. So managing people, also making sure you have the right processes. So we take an investor on a journey from signing the NDA to the proposal and the spreadsheets to the terms and conditions, to the invoice, to then pay.
Yeah.
So there's a process that we take the investor. So that's some of the things. Anything you can follow?
Like, do you mean understanding the actual operations? of what's
Operations,
going on?
operations.
And who are all these people? Who are these guys doing viewings right now?
So they've come to Crash Course as well.
Yeah.
We met them, and that was still the first deal. They're gonna pay for the actual deal selling masterclass.
Okay, so they've been on the training as well.
Yeah.
And then you're what, just sort of like ushering
Guiding
out?
them. So we tell them what to do basically. I just show them the house. We'll do the talking
And
after.
you're just paying them to do viewings.
Yeah,
and
just a
So
minimum.
I'm trying to
work.
systemize the business.
yeah. Because that's good, that's smart. Because if you did everything yourself, you wouldn't be able to be here right now at my house
Exactly.
and also making money. But if you outsource the work, you can. So that's smart.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
And what else have I learned? That business is not really hard. It's just about consistency and persistence. So you can get 20 no's in a day, but you just need one. So some people give up. Like you can call two landlords, but like, oh no, sorry, no company lets. You're like, oh, this doesn't work. You go home. I'm like, you know what? I'll get one. Just have to keep trying.
And what I would say also is, you don't learn to ride a bike by reading a book. You need to take action.
Yeah.
You need to be out there doing viewings. You need to get rejections. You need to be out there in the field to actually learn.
Yeah.
How to actually because there's certain things you can read or you can watch, but if you're not actually going to do it, then you're not gonna really learn.
That's true, man. The only way to learn is to do. You have to actually do it, and that's why my advanced training. It's basically a week of doing.
Exactly, yeah.
Like booking viewings, trying to sell deals.
Even at the crash course, it's all about doing. Teaching us and be like, okay, go and find deals now.
What do your family and friends think of what you're doing?
So me, I hadn't initially I hadn't told everyone. So not everyone actually knows that.
So this is the big reveal, man.
For some people, and some people kind of knew I was in property, and so this is the big reveal for most people.
What about yourself? What do your friends and family think?
So I've done a lot of things. So like, I have a psychology degree, just collecting dust. Like I don't even use it anymore. So I was doing teaching as well before him, and I told him, don't do it. Like they're not paying you for the work you're doing. Like, because I was working 12-hour shifts or days really. Wake up in the morning, marking lessons, planning lessons, and everything, and you're not getting that much money. Like 21K it was when I was doing it. He didn't listen. He still wants to be a teacher. But then I was like, come to property.
You've made that now in the last 2 months.
Exactly. So everyone was just so proud because they knew I was going to do this. Because I never wanted to do 9 to 5.
Yeah.
It was never in mind.
I was always that kid in school selling Lucasades, for profit and making buying a little, buying a phone or this. I've always have that business mindset from a young age. So. It was.
And I think it was shout as well because I think am I right in thinking it was the interview that I did with Correct?
Yes,
that got you guys like, oh my gosh, have you seen this?
That was actually the first Winners on a Wednesday I've seen, and from that I was like, you know what, let me actually have a look into Samuel Leeds and the property courses and you know that's when I came to your event. It was in November last year. And then from then I just never looked back. I probably watched most of the winners and Wednesday.
Yeah, and you told me you sent me links. There's a new one, watch it. I'm like, okay. And
Did you think that you'd be ending up on the show?
I actually did write in as one of my goals on the program that to appear on Samuel Leeds. It feels surreal, like it feels earlier than I expected. Yeah. So.
And you're living in Hertfordshire,
yeah,
and you're living in Birmingham.
Yeah.
So, are you only focusing on Birmingham for your deal sourcing, or are you looking across the country?
Everywhere. We've saw deals in Manchester, Milton Keynes, Birmingham, Hertfordshire.
Yeah.
And I know now as well. You're looking at doing sort of bigger development type deals.
Of course.
We did some training a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
What's your plans there? What's going on there?
So you open my eyes to that. Like when you look at a normal house. It's not, don't look at the house, look what's around the house, what's next to the house, what's above the house. He sold air above the house.
What do you mean by air?
You have to come on that program.
Really
that's the only one I haven't been to, so that's one, I think you got one in August.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to go to that one, Development Secrets.
And you guys are from Zimbabwe?
Yes.
So you moved here when you were sort of what, like 10?
I was about
8,
10, 11.
Yeah. So, you know, being from Zimbabwe, like, is the culture, I mean, we were talking earlier about culture in Zimbabwe and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How would you describe the Zimbabwean business culture? Is it different or same?
It's like in property, it's hard to explain to someone that I don't want to go to work 9 to 5. They're like, you have to work hard. I'm like, no, I work smart. Do you know what I mean?
I think that, you know, the notion of just people just know that you have to go to work and get money.
Yeah.
So the idea of you're selling a deal for 3,000, it doesn't click until you see it happen. I remember when we got our first, because the first time we got our first deal was 2 deals that came in on the same day.
Yeah.
So that just completely, I was like, what? This is real.
And that's also the deals ready to quit.
Yeah.
I was like, probably doesn't work.
So I actually called him on the day. I was like, you know what? Just follow up on the guy and just see what he's saying. Yeah. Just because he wasn't sure if he was ready to pay that.
Yeah. We sent him the terms and conditions for 500. So just pay £500 and we reserve the deal. Then I called him the next day. I was like, hi mate, maybe see the terms and conditions. Oh yeah, sorry, I meant to pay. I'm going to do it right now. I was like, oh okay, no worries. So we're still nervous about it. Then he must have.
Yeah. So then he paid that exact day, and that's when we knew that the money's in the follow up. You have to always follow up.
Not only did he pay 500, he paid 3,000.
He paid the full price. Yeah.
And we just asked for 500, and he said 3. I was like, yo, did this just happen?
Yeah.
Then like a couple hours later, another lady as well from yesterday, we followed up again. She paid another 3,000. So one day was 6,000.
Wow.
So I was like,
£6,000 in one day. The day after you almost quit.
Yeah. They was like, you know what? It's not going to work.
That was the last day of our financial freedom challenge as well.
Yeah.
So just like
Yeah, and I know also you watched like Doug, who's also been on Winners on the Wednesday, good friend of mine, Zimbabwean as well. And Doug's killing it, and I think that's one of the reasons why I like to interview people, because you were inspired by Crept and Doug, and now you're being on. Now there'll be more people that will be inspired, and it kind of has a positive rippling effect.
Exactly.
Have you had any deals that have gone wrong?
So we've had an investor who was paid, everything was going through, and then they just turn around and say, you know what, I'm not interested in the property, and we just as per the terms and conditions, we just refund.
Yeah.
So not terms of bad, just someone changing their mind.
Yeah.
We only sell things that we take on ourselves.
Yeah.
So the profit's over 500. I'm like, would you take this one? Yeah, I'll take this. Okay, cool. So it's a good deal.
Right. Exactly. And that's so important because when you learn the skills to sell, I'm the best salesman you'll ever meet.
I agree. I just come to Crash Course and just see you sell sometimes.
And you've seen that a lot of the deal selling masterclass. You can testify for this. I'm just on the phone selling deals, bang, 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 money in the bank. And when you see that, you can't unsee it.
You can't. Exactly. And that's when I knew that property works, because when I saw there was actually one girl that made 10,000 on that program.
I remember.
Yeah, in one day.
Yeah.
So that just complete. You can't unsee that.
No, you can't go back to teaching work for 21 grand a year when you just saw someone, a brand newbie on the program, make 10 grand in one day.
Yeah, impossible.
It's like, what? But then the really important thing as well, which I hopefully drum home a lot of the training, which is when you know how to sell really good, it's so important to also make sure that you over-deliver on what you've sold.
Exactly, yeah.
So when you sell a deal, so I was saying, want to always be conservative on your numbers, leave room to wow them. If they're unhappy, refund them or put it right. Because, you know, with deal selling, when you're selling a lot of deals and you're making a lot of money, it's important to make sure your reputation is always, of course there's always going to be something, every business has good reviews and bad reviews, but you need to make sure that there's no room for any bad, because you're delivering so well, you know, which is really important. Talk to me about the importance of terms and conditions and a written agreement with your investors before you take money from them.
Yeah.
We always make sure that, for example, if they don't sign the terms and conditions, that's just showing an agreement that, you know, this is the amount you pay and this is the amount of cooling off period, 14 days, due diligence period, for them to, and everything is listed in the terms and conditions to protect both parties. So we always make sure before, you know, before they pay, they have to sign that, because it protects us and it protects them as well.
Yeah, and that's so important, because otherwise there could be lack of clarity, and then if you sell a deal to somebody, 6 months later they go, oh man, I want my money back because the roof's leaking, and it's like, well, hang on, whoa, what does the contract say? Exactly. So it's so important to have that. What are your plans then over the next sort of 6 months?
6 months.
So I'm going to be full-time in the next 2 weeks. So I'm planning.
Have you quit yet?
Not yet. So actually, with teaching, I want to do get money from property, because I want to teach because I want to, not because I have to.
So you're still going to do a bit?
I'm going to do a bit, maybe just a part-time.
He won't. He won't.
No, because I actually like to teach. Maybe not necessarily the what you're exactly, you know, the curriculum. Eventually, I want to teach on property, and because I like the skill of teaching. You know.
Where does that come from? Where does the desire to help kids and young people actually understand finances? Like, talk to me about that, because you know that's something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah, I think God just put that on my heart to just help and just teach, and I feel like that's my purpose. Yeah. Whether it's in a school, whether it's in in other different environments.
And both our parents were teachers.
Yeah,
well, so that kind of explains how we both ended up with it. Let's keep it that far out. Like.
What's your motivation? Like, what would you say your strongest reason is for doing this business?
In terms of, like, I want to create time so I can live purposefully, so I can do the projects that I want to do. I know, as a Christian, I want to make sure, you know, the gospel reached out to many people, and the love of Christ, you know, is reached out to many people. So, you know, I just want to make sure that, you know, my time is not constricted by, you know, doing a job, or I want to, if I have a job, I want to choose to, if I can work there rather than I have to. So creating that time and you know, making sure my family is looked after. Yeah,
that's great. And what would you say to somebody that was wanting to get into property?
Just do it. Go to the crash course. If you ain't got money, watch all the YouTube videos, learn as much as you can, save up money, go for the training and just do it.
Yeah.
Because that's not that much. Like 2,000 now doesn't sound like money. Like other people, I've told them, like, I bet 3K, they're like,
it doesn't sound like a lot of money to you because you've done it.
You've done it. But before, you're forgetting what you know, before, like, I remember paying that 2,000 and I was a bit nervous before I went to the training, and I was like, wait, I just paid £2,000. Yeah. And then, so not many people knew that I was even doing property, so
What would they have said if you'd have told them you dropped 2,000 on a course?
Yeah,
so obviously people have, you know, that's more pressure on me. So I just
you have to deliver.
I have to deliver.
They'll be like, you made £1 million yet? The following day, you're rich yet?
Yeah.
Get your money back.
So, you know, that one thing that we learn also on the course, like having an abundant mindset. You know that, you know, there's enough money for everyone. You know, even if people want to start, you know, have the knowledge, take action. You know, have that persistence. Exactly. You know, and belief is so important, because if you don't believe that you're going to do it, then you're already failed.
Exactly.
People fail before they even begin.
And that's the thing, people that say, oh, I'd never spend $2,000 on a training program, it's that they clearly don't think they're going to make that much money. Some people say to me, I'll give you 50% of my business if you teach me for free. And it's like, you clearly don't think you're going to be very successful. Because if you're saying, I'm prepared to give half of my business just to save a few grand. That shows me that.
I would do that now. No, that's a lot. Our business is worth a lot right now.
But I bet you would have 6 months ago.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah.
You would have, but it's a good thing that you did. Because things, if you want to,
you're getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Pain that was getting out of my comfort.
And also, when you got your first deal, and people started investing in you, paying you $3 grand, $4 grand, $5 grand. Because you've invested in yourself, it's easy to ask people to invest in you. It's like, I found this deal, it's $3 grand. But if you'd only ever watched free videos on YouTube, taking $3-4 grand off somebody, you might feel a bit like, unworthy. And because you feel unworthy, the money doesn't come. But when you invest in yourself, I think that people start then investing in you.
Yeah, agreed.
How did you justify it? How did you justify the decision at the time? Because you didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So how did I justify it? I think I'm always prepared to take calculated risks.
Yeah.
Because with your training, I knew that energy. I just knew that from someone I connected in terms of as a Christian fellow brother as well. So that I just felt that let me just try it out. What's the worst that can happen and just not get that 2,000 back.
The best way to predict the future is to create it. So if you're thinking is it going to work? Am I going to be successful? Don't worry about what's going to happen. Just make it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got to just decide what you want to do, and as you said, just go do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
I should write that down. Every time you talk, I must take notes. It's weird that I have my notebook with me.
So what would be your final words of wisdom and advice for the folks listening in?
I'll say just do it. Don't doubt it. Just do it. And give yourself a time frame at least. Say give yourself a month or 2 months.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ham. I'm gonna go every day. I'm gonna wake up and just try as hard as I can. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But it's gonna work.
Love it.
I would say belief and mindset.
Yeah.
You need to believe you can do it. You need to have the right mindset. If you haven't got the right mindset, maybe you need to look at your environment.
Yeah, right.
Your environment is stronger than willpower, so you need to have that environment because it's good when you come to the training course. There's high energy, but then when you go back home, what environment are you going back to?
Yeah.
So so I say belief and mindset are very important.
And what made you guys decide to team up? And where did you meet?
So we met in school really.
Yeah, long time. Yeah.
Because our mums were friends.
Yeah.
So it made sense for us to be friends.
And why did you decide to do this business together?
So I was actually I had this training. I had so many strategies, but then I didn't have the time. And he was transitioning, so he was time rich. So I just thought it made sense.
Yeah.
To someone who actually has got time to go do these viewings, and because he was in the transition. So I just thought, and then it's relentless energy to really go, to go for it. So
well, you guys make great business partners. Yeah. And I'm really pleased to see what you've done, man. So big respect here for you in the next stages, and I look forward to seeing you continue to win.
Thanks, bro. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.